Come on to the Cinema 9 podcast. Michael Govier, Travis Roy, Eric Branstrom. We're live for episode 126. It's called Under the Skin. And we'll focus in on that in about a half hour or so, like we always do. We'll dive deep into that movie, all the way into Under the Skin. Cinema9pod@gmail.com is how you can get a hold of us. You want to email the show. And, of course, 5-star ratings are welcome. YouTube subscriptions, thank you so much. Hit the like button if you're going to watch this video now or later. Whenever you're seeing this. Travis, I don't think it really matters. Just maybe hit the like button.
Be nice. We'd appreciate it. Subscribe. That'd be cool. Follow. Do whatever. Do the thing.
Follow me. Everything is all right. Remember Uncle Cracker? What the hell was Uncle Cracker?
Yeah.
What was that?
Uncle Cracker is a real question. Why are you bringing this to the forefront of
that
mind?
song. I should have mentioned that in our Pet Peeves video we just did. I loathe Uncle Cracker, and I should have mentioned that. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Awful.
Eric, how you feeling? You okay?
Yeah. I don't know if you know, but I got new ink. So this is a big thing for me. Like a big forearm tattoo on me now. Yeah, I'm that guy now. It was like a 2-hour-long bee sting. I forgot how much pain that is. 2-hour-long bee sting. That's exactly what it felt like. I just sit there and pretend like it didn't hurt. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Good Mikey, for you, man.
Yeah, it's exciting. Mikey didn't ask how I'm doing, but I'm sick as a dog, dude. I got my Moderna shot, and I don't know if it's like a week long of that or if I just happen to get sick at the same time, but I've been in hell.
You sound like you're sick, so I just kind of took that in earlier on our previous video, which was...
I just wanted to explain to the audience why I sound like Abe Vigoda just woke up.
I don't feel great. I got stuff in my nose.
It's really more in my left ear.
Hey, I'm from Look Who's Talking. Shut up.
Shut up. Was he Look Who's Talking or Look Who's Talking 2?
I don't know what you're talking about, dude. It's been
Abe
a minute.
Vigoda.
Oh,
Abe Vigoda was definitely in one of those. Yeah, because
I'll be honest with you, that's not the performance that springs to mind. I'm a Joe versus Volcano man.
Oh yeah,
you want to marry him? You want to marry her? Good. You're married.
Yay! Wow. What's the name of the soda from that movie?
Oh shit! I should know that.
Good question. You should know
that. Orange Crush?
No, it's something made up for the movie.
What are those people called? The Wapapoos?
Oh shit! I guess I'm
overdue
to watch the movie.
He's rusty.
Nothing the volcano? Yeah, we are rusty.
They love this soda. Yeah, we're rusty. Maybe we need to bring it on the show.
You know what's funny is I can actually see that colonization overtaking these people. They're leaving out the death and carnage and disease, but I could see a remnant of them being there once upon a time, being a soda. That would make sense. But they left out a few things.
Spam and Guam.
The Queen died recently, apparently. The Queen of England. She's perished. And it's a national period of mourning here in Canada. So we got the flags at half staff, and we're very, very mournful right now. The movie, though, The Queen, that was an excellent film, and I would recommend that if you've never saw that, just in the Queen's honor. Helen Mirren with a fine Academy Award-worthy performance as the Queen. Did you guys ever see that one?
No.
I don't remember.
Michael Sheen plays Tony Blair, and yes, Helen Mirren is the Queen. It's from 2006, so if you never saw it, check it out. It's actually, I'm not a fan of the Queen or anything, and I don't loathe her either, but...
Yeah. I'm really in this big who gives a shit. I don't hate her. I'm not sad. I'm just American living my life.
I'm not arguing with you.
I used to be interested in royalty. Then I looked it up because I was like, what did they even do? And I looked it up, and then that's when my interest completely waned.
Oh, well, don't forget that you can email the show, and our buddy Bernardo's here. Shout out to him. We just flashed his comment up on the screen. He emailed us, so I'd like to share his email right quick because it's fun. Email the show at cinema9pod@gmail.com. Now we're like everybody else. Hey guys, it's Bernardo from the live stream earlier. Just wanted to say I really love your podcast. It is very cool to hear what you have to say about the movies. I first found out about you some days ago when I came across your episode on The Girl Next Door. Parentheses, it's my favorite movie. Wow, see?
Wow.
That's fascinating. Wow. Favorite movie. Okay.
Wow.
And I thought you made some really interesting points. I know you guys already have a movie for next week, but if you're taking suggestions for the future, I think Fight Club would be really interesting. Keep up the great work, and I'll be waiting for the next episode. Bernardo. Oh, thank you very much, Bernardo. You're a good man.
which brings us to our next point, which is that Bernardo inspired us to make our September 28th episode of Here in 2022 to be a listener's choice episode. So you still have a week to send in your suggestions. We'll pick one at random live at the end of our next episode on the 21st, I guess. So shoot us an email, shoot us a text if you know us, I guess, a DM. We ask that you do one, limit yourself to one suggestion. Everybody gets one shot at, and we'll do it randomly.
These people, no cheating, okay? And don't get caught up in your own egos. One selection, please, okay? And if you want to,
these fans of ours,
how dare you?
How dare you? How dare you?
How dare you, sir? Look, Derek Fern was cool enough to retract one of his choices, and that's what we respect, right?
Get some pushback on that one, Mike, or
not me? I mean, I would have done it, but I feel like there was some other people who maybe weren't interested in doing The Big Lebowski because it's.
I would be very happy to do The Big Lebowski, but there's no question in my mind whether or not it holds up. So
yeah, I agree with that. Both those sentiments. I agree. Okay. Anyways, get those selections in, guys. You can hit us up any way possible: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. TikTok, whatever, wherever you find us, YouTube. You can comment on this video here and drop them in, and we'll try to add them all together, and we'll get the final selection for that show, the 28th. All right, Travis, what have you been watching? The quarantine viewing picks section of the show has begun.
Oh yeah, that. Let's see. Sometimes you want to watch something dumb. You want something that's about a 6 on the old IMDb because you just kind of, you don't want to be too into it. So I watched Uncharted from 2022, and it was exactly as tepid as I was expecting. I wouldn't, it was fine to fold your laundry too, I guess. I kind of equally felt a lot of people really loved the new Ghostbusters Afterlife. I finally watched that and I just didn't care. It just felt very, maybe if I'd seen it on the big screen in the summer like I was supposed to, maybe I would have been more engaged. But like, man, I just felt like, okay, this is it's a rehash in Oklahoma. And there's kids instead of like grown adults. I don't know. It just didn't do it for me. Did you guys see that?
I still haven't seen that. I still haven't seen it and I want to.
It's on Stars.
I do want to.
Stars finally. It's just, I don't know, man. It's just, it's got really good reviews. So maybe I just wasn't in the right mood for it. I'll give it another shot sometime in my life, but it seemed like the best parts were saved for the after credit sequences. I'm like, okay, or the mid credit sequences. So I'm like, all right, I don't know about that. I checked out Don't Breathe 2 from 2021. I really liked Don't Breathe. A lot of people were angry that the villain was turned into the protagonist in Don't Breathe 2. But like, do you want Don't Breathe 2 to not star Stephen Lang as that character? I thought it was really cool that he was the protagonist. In no way was he presented as a good guy or a cool guy. It wasn't like they twisted it and suddenly he was like someone that you liked. He was still like a bad person, but he was just the protagonist. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. For a sequel for this kind of movie, I thought it was much maligned. I thought it was totally worth checking out.
Cool.
You guys both, you especially Mike, have recommended many times that I watched Captain Fantastic from 2016. So I finally gave that a watch.
Oh,
what a fine film. Yeah. What a fine commentary on society and
beautiful.
And the way that monoculture and groupthink, majority, whatever, kind of just has a way of shoving itself into the lives of people that try to reject it, or at least carve their own path. I really liked it. It was really good. I don't know why I found it in the comedy section of the whatever I streamed it on. At some point when like he's like revealing to his kids that like their mother killed himself. I'm like, I don't think this is a comedy. But I enjoy it.
I don't think so either. Who plays is that Frank Langella in the old man role? Or no?
Yeah. Oh, classic old man Langella. Yeah. Disapproving Langella. He's always showing up being disapproving. He's so good at it.
He is really good at disapproving. Yes. That's why he played a perfect Nixon.
Hey, this is true. A couple movies that I rewatched that I've seen before. I did my annual check-in on the Monster Squad, start getting into the spooky season. Never gets old. And I just keep watching this not so great Wendigo horror film from 2014 called Dark Was the Night. I don't know why I'm so obsessed with this movie. I I can't pretend like it's that great. It's really slow for the first hour, and then it's like a half hour of creature effects and like. But for some reason, there's something about it. Just, I mean, it's probably the fourth time I've watched it. I just keep watching this movie, Dark Was the Night. I guess because there's maybe not a lot of Wendigo horror movies. I don't know. I sure like it, despite its many flaws. But for me, the big one for this week would be from Finland. This year, there's a horror movie called Hatching that has been getting a lot of buzz in the horror community, and I gave it a watch, and I thoroughly enjoyed Hatching. You know, I've said this on the show before, I'll say it again. I strongly believe that horror is the genre best suited for social commentary, and this movie's a fantastic example of that. Just completely peeling back influencer culture and like the way that can like permeate families and lives, and like the striving for perfection, and how that can just like drive people to insanity, basically. But in short, the movie's about a girl who finds this egg that hatches this creature that is just like, you know, she's got to like deal with this fucking weird bird thing. I mean, and it goes hard because it's Finnish. Like they don't care about like your American, like, oh, you don't want to see vomit on screen? Here's a whole bunch of vomit on screen. It's hardcore, but I really liked Hatching.
Damn, this sounds awesome. I'm there. Where did you watch it?
I want to say I watched it on Hulu, but I'm not positive. Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
I liked it. That's it.
Finnish brethren representing horror. I love it.
Yeah. Cheers to the Finnish.
Dang.
Yay! Eric, what are you watching, bud?
Oh, well, I knocked out Cobra Kai season 5. Fantastic. Killed it all in one night. Just bring it on. I want like 20 seasons. I can't get enough. So stupid, but so entertaining.
You know what? I didn't mention this, so I might as well mention it now. But I finally started watching it. I watched the first season a couple weeks ago. And
fun.
So I understand what the buzz is all about. I'm like, Cobra Kai, what's going on over there? People were talking about that. I mean, that was 2017. The first season came out, so it's been out for a while now. We're on 5 seasons, and just what a great idea, man. Well done. Yeah. You take something that is old property that's kind of laying there. It's like the Karate Kid. They made remakes. I don't think anybody gave a fuck about his movies, really. Maybe kids did or something when Jaden Smith did it in 2010 and Jackie Chan. But to take the old memories of the original Karate Kid and like have flashbacks from the old movies that are woven into the current show so effortlessly, like William Zabka's like he still has something to offer. And so does Ralph Macchio. It's not like Keanu Reeves in the last Matrix movie. Like I've said this many times. The look on his face and him himself in that movie is just like he's not there. It's like, dude, why are you even doing this? It's so weird and uncomfortable to watch you on screen. That's not the case with Ralph Macchio and Zabka. They showed a second life, even though these are old characters. They inhabit them as 30 years later. It's incredible. It's really well done, and I'm looking forward to watching the rest of the seasons.
Yeah, it's really embracing like all of the values of the original films, the cheesiness. It's talk about being self-aware, Mike. It knows exactly what those movies were, who their audience was, and it's just embracing it in a really fun, imaginative way that's not just a soft reboot like we keep seeing over and over again.
But it's not totally cheesy, though. I want to say yes, they understand that too, but they try to bring some of the heart back from that original first film that really was there, like a legitimate message, a spiritual connection between Miyagi and Daniel's son, and that was a surprise to me that like that was able to be properly put into the show, Eric. That's what impressed me.
I tell you, by the time we get to season 5, the big surprise is how fucking like of a stretch they are taking this. Like the most minor characters from like part 3 are coming back. It's like they're really spreading it thin, man. But it's still a lot of fun. I'm sorry, dude. Like Robert Zemeckis, I'm at the end of my rope with this fucking guy. Enough is enough. This is the 4th film in a row that he's let me down so badly. And this used to be appointment viewing at the theater anytime Bob Zemeckis made a picture. Pinocchio. Yeah, Pinocchio on Disney Plus. It's like all the reviews. Thank God I went and I'm like, what do other people think about this? It's getting lambasted. It's so bad. And I adore the 1940 cartoon. I just don't know how this happened, how it's so abominable. It feels like somebody on Instagram, I believe it was Math Teacher Movies, a guy I follow that I really like his reviews. He likened it to like a middle school trying to put on like a production of it. Like that's what it feels like. Like this is the most stale, benign, clunky, stretched out trash that is way overconfident in itself. Awful, ugly animation, like Tom Hanks phoning it in. Oh my God. Yeah, abominable. Could not stand it. Horrible.
Didn't Zemeckis do Finch?
No,
that wasn't him. Who did Finch?
I don't know who did
Okay,
Finch,
never
but
mind.
yeah, not
Right.
Zemeckis, but yeah, the
What are the other
Walk,
three that you're-
welcome to Marwin, the Walk, the Witches, and now this. You got to be fucking kidding me right now, dude.
Okay.
What's going on with you?
Finch was directed by Miguel Sapochnik.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Fucking clue who that is.
Sapochnik.
Hey,
Babe? I never saw Babe from 1995. I turned it on like YouTube free movies. I'm like, hey, Babe. Like I heard a lot about this back in the day. Like I'm sorry, dude. Like I was fucking irritated the whole time. Like I gave it a chance. I'm like, okay, talking animals. Like how is this good? And I turned it on. And like, this is kind of irritating.
Didn't Cromwell win an Oscar for that?
He was up for Best Supporting in '95. Lost to Spacey
Supporting?
for Usual Suspect. But what is this? Like I was just like, turn this off.
I've never seen
That's
it.
it, man. That's it.
I just know. I do quote it apparently though when I say that'll do,
do you?
pig.
Yes. Oh yeah, that's one of those '90s quotes.
Well, I thought that was a Cobra quote. That'll do, pig. That'll do, pig.
New world out here, pig. Come on.
Yeah, I always thought you were talking about Cobra.
That's funny.
There you go, man.
Oh, I always love how Eric just like stops talking. He doesn't wrap it up really. He just pauses and then he says something like, "There you go, man. I love that."
Dramatic
Don't
effect.
change. Don't change it. Yeah, you got to be you.
Don't go changing.
Please
There
me.
you go. There you go.
Oh, just to please me. Shit, I don't know. Look,
I think that's what it is.
I'm really confident. I can't think of anything else I watched besides the goddamn movie that we're about to talk about. So I'm thinking, I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting. And boy, I just don't recall sitting down to watch a film.
It's understandable.
Oh yeah,
It's
National
tough
Warrior.
right now.
Good morning, the Queen.
Yeah.
Your monarch
So-
is passed.
Morning.
I'm sorry. Queen is dead. Long live the Queen.
I'll take this opportunity to say that I need to have like a day where I can just watch like 5 or 6 movies. I really do. And I would really welcome that day, to be honest
It's called
with you.
Sunday.
Yeah, that's what sucks now. The football's here. Like I don't get to do that. It's like work. I got to do work. So, but it's not like hell work. So it's not like I'm digging a ditch or something. Not complaining. I'm just saying that I got to find. There's got to be one day in there where I can just sit down like a Tuesday or something. But then I got to go to today I went to my internship. I've been doing that now. I'm actually back in an office. I haven't been in an office in like a physical workplace in years. It's weird to go back out there, but that's what I'm doing. So. The movie watching is difficult there. They got really good internet though. Maybe I could squeeze in a movie there. Throw the headphones on.
Maybe.
Not getting paid. It's an internship. They don't pay me,
Oh,
so
in that case.
don't get. Oh yeah, don't give me too hard of a time. It's basically like student teaching. It's the same deal. Hey, you're gonna pay. This is gonna pay off for you. Trust us. So, sorry guys. I did spend
Watch
the night.
movies on your
I will. Yeah, why not? I did spend the night at our friend Corey's house last night to watch this movie we're about to talk about. And I made a concerted effort. I think you guys will be proud of me because it was Tuesday night. And I'm like, shit, we got the show tomorrow. And I know I got to work. And then I'm going to have very little time after work because I got to get back over here and the tunnel could be busy. And so I said, Corey, because he recommended watching some movie called, God, I don't even know what it was. Like a tunnel or, no, I'm saying tunnel. I already said that before. Yeah, he recommended some film. And I'm like, hey, why don't we watch Under the Skin? We could watch that because I got to watch it for the show. So, Corey, I would like to thank you for purchasing the movie from wherever you purchased it. We watched it on your television. Thank you very much.
HBO Max? Get HBO Max, man.
Oh, it was free?
Yeah. Well, if you have HBO Max, it's on there. But
Well, he certainly could afford it. So, Corey, you're making a huge mistake. If you're on HBO Max, you blew it, dude.
best streamer
anyways.
out there.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
HBO Max is clutch. Yeah, I want to watch Elvis on there. So, anyways, let's do it. It's time to get focused. It's time to lock into a film that Eric Brancham selected. It's called Under the Skin, directed by Jonathan Glazer, and this is our second film
Yeah.
directed by Jonathan Glazer.
No Spielberg, just Glazer.
That's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah,
As
no
we said last
Spielberg, Glazer only. So yeah, so it came out now. Again, one of these like tiny disparities. 2013 and 14. It said 2014 on our TV last time we rented it, and I've seen 2013 on the internet. So obviously, maybe it was picked up.
Yeah, it was a festival. I mean, like this was early in A24's existence, back before I knew that I cared about them. And I'm sure that it was probably released in some festivals and then to everybody else in 2014 is my guess. Seems a safe guess with an independent film like this.
Okay, so yeah, directed by Jonathan Glazer, starring
Scarlett Johansson.
I'm laughing. It's kind of funny to me. Scarlett Johansson, Jeremy McWilliams, and maybe somebody else. Is there any? How many actors are actually in this movie? Like 5?
Oh no, Scarlett is going to.
Oh my God! We definitely turned the subtitles on within 15 minutes.
I did
not.
I did not. I don't do subtitles. I would. I mean, no, I didn't do it.
And you understood the film? You feel you understood the film?
Do you feel like you understood the film with subtitles on?
That's a good point.
That's what I thought.
It's a really well.
It's a poem. You don't have to understand every little word.
That's
blah blah blah.
Direction.
Right. Go there.
Right.
Well, let's go back in time. Travis, you see this film before, right?
Yeah, I saw it in what must have been 2014 or 2013. I saw it when it was new. I rented it when it was brand new. I watched it. When I lived the first 2 years I lived in Philadelphia, I lived in North Philly on 17th Street or 100. Well, no, what fucking street did I live in? 17th Street, and in North Philly, and I lived in I ran like a hole in a wall, and it was kind of like a prison. I had a TV that was literally the size of your like TV/VHS, compact, combination thing. Yeah, like it was literally that size. The screen was that size, and I would just sit really close to it on my folding chair because that's the chair I had. This was a rough time in my life, and but I remember watching the movie and just being completely wrapped, just wrapped with attention, just like I'm into this and blown away by it. I did not put 2 and 2 together for many years that Jonathan Glazer was the same guy that did Sexy Beast. I just didn't register. But I was definitely blown away by it. Was surprised that I didn't hear more people talking about it. But it's kind of like Synecdoche, New York, where it's like one of the movies like, damn, like I love it, but I don't know if I'm ever going to watch it again. Because it was, it's like kind of emotional work in some ways. But I've had this one on the old list for some time, so I was glad that Eric chose it.
Yeah, man. There was so much chatter out of the festival circuit on this one, and you're right, man. Early A24, picked a lot of heads up. It's like, hey, there's this new studio that like makes a bunch of pretentious movies that have their own heads up their asses, and like I guess are good, but they're really boring. So yeah, I was there, rented it, and it's kind of type of movie you watch, and like it kind of washes over you, but it's hard to shake, man. And I haven't been able to shake it in about 6 years, but I just never got around to taking another look at it. I know I loved it, man. There was so much to appreciate just visually. So I'm very excited to talk this up.
So glad you chose this. Thank you. I had not seen this before, so it was a whole new viewing experience for me. I will take my opportunity in this section just to say this because I missed this, and I really hate when I do this, but it's worth noting real quick. Quick pause, because we haven't dove into the details yet, so it's okay. Bernardo says, very nice movies selection that we just shared. This week, my highs were 500 Days of Summer, which I really liked, and The Lake House, which apart from the confusing and physically impossible timeline, I thought was really nice too. I've never seen The Lake House. I remember
The Lake House. It was good.
500 Days of Summer is a film that... That's your face for 500 Days of Summer?
Nah, that's my 500 Days of Summer face.
Yeah, those are on the podcast. It's a strong... It's beyond a grimace. It's like Travis is very uncomfortable hearing the title. Frankly, this is a movie that I thought it was revelation when it came out, but upon further review and some other people enlightened me on 500 Days of Summer, maybe is a really fucked up film in a way when you start to really break it down. So I didn't recognize that the first time I saw it. At the time, I was like, oh my God, the Smiths. And that was like, that's not enough.
It's not enough. Good soundtrack.
That's
problematic
not a premise for a film.
Yeah.
problem.
Big time problematic. Protagonist's time has gone on. Anyways, Under the Skin on IMDb. What is the score? I feel like it's an 8.24, so it's got to get some prestige, right?
I think it's high. I'm going to say 8.0.
What do you think?
8.0.
Ooh, wow.
Holy shit.
You're putting it in the 8. Okay.
I think it's up there. I think that the people who see, I don't think that a lot of people have seen this, but I think that the people who have, I think they really love it. Now I know this like floundered at the box office. It didn't make back half of what it was spent on it, but I think that the people that see it, I think that most of them probably really like it.
Wow. I mean, I know it's got a very, very strong following, but I can see people like walking out of the theater like, okay, 2-minute long shot of her staring at me. I'm out of here. And then downgrading the rating. I'm gonna go low. I'm gonna say 6.5.
I'm gonna say, Travis. Yeah, you're probably right. That people who have seen it applaud it. So I'm gonna go just under the 8. I'll say a 7.8 is what my choice is.
Oh, all right. Let's see it.
Wow, 6.3.
6.3. I was way the fuck off. Well, I've been off all the time.
143,000.
That's a
so
lot.
just to give you the clarity on that part, that's not bad. It's not massive, but it's not like nobody's seen it.
That's a lot of people have seen it, but I clearly I've been like under guessing what the people think of movies a lot lately. I guess I overcompensated this time. Oh well,
that's good. It's always good to overcompensate sometimes. That's what I've heard anyway.
Always good sometimes.
Always good sometimes. You gotta love those oxymorons. So as far as Rotten Tomatoes, hut, sir. Hut, as Aaron Chudbud would say. Who we'll be seeing soon. Look forward to seeing you soon, Chudbud.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
Under the Skin on Rotten Tomatoes, 84% for the critics. That's an excellent score.
Oh, yeah.
Rock solid score.
That's up there.
Popcorn
Dumped over bucket of popcorn. Yeah, it's tipped over. It's 55% from the audience.
Well, there may be that too many people saw this movie. They're like, "Oh, Scarlett Johansson," and then they're like, "Why? Yeah, why is it just a 2-minute shot of her eyeballs in the in the rearview mirror? Why is there still this shot? Why am I
Still
looking at water?"
That van.
Another shot of a man walking across the street. Okay.
Yeah, I wrote this down last night. I think Corey or I said it. Vacant look, long stairs, driving, boners.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh man. Wow.
Slowly eat cake, slowly walk down steps, slowly walk or ride down a mountain, long shot. Yeah, there you go. Those are a few things that we said that I wrote down.
Shopping montage, directions.
These are all your notes? I got more notes than that. Oh, well,
that was just the only notes I wrote. Yeah, it's the only thing I wrote.
I have lots
but I remember it well. I do. I hope you do. You always got lots of notes. I love that. How about Matthew Lacona of the San Diego Reader?
Sure.
Glacial in pace.
Okay.
Skeletal in plot. And generally nasty. Jonathan Glazer's Under the Skin is a repetitive nightmare of drear and dread, punctuated by moments of queasy-making horror.
So he liked it then.
He splatted it, actually.
Oh.
It did sound like he...
No, I did not think he liked it. I was kidding.
Oh, okay. Let's see. I don't know if Destin Thompson will be involved in this one. Again, this is a newer film, 2013-14.
No, he was retired from the industry, I believe, by this point. I believe. Not that we're his biographers or anything. That's a fun noise. Keep making that for the rest of the podcast.
I think people will love that. People are into auditory sounds. They'll love that shit. By the way, Ebert died that year, so he might have just missed this one. I don't know if he actually caught it before he died, but
I'd love to know what the old man thought.
Me too. His pal, Richard Roper, his secondary pal, one of the most polarizing movies in recent years. That's all it says. That's stupid. Come on, Roper.
Yeah, that's not a review.
Yeah. Oh! Bill Goody Koontz.
All right.
The Arizona Republic.
Yes.
Bill.
Don't let me down, Bill.
All right. Bill Goody Koontz of the Arizona Republic said in 2014, the story is at once simple and impenetrable. Visually, it is arresting when it isn't murky. And the droning atonal soundtrack is as perfect for the film as it is annoying.
Yeah, I think that's why we like Goody Koontz. It's not just the name.
One of his better reviews.
He actually,
he
nailed it.
He did. Well done, Goody Coons. Proud of you. Anne Hornaday, who has ripped a lot of movies, once Under the Skin reaches its surprisingly affecting conclusion, it feels less like a cinematic novel than a well-executed short story.
All right. I like what Anne said that time. I think that she's right. There is a real simplicity to the story, and it almost feels like a Stephen King or Philip K. Dick kind of thing. I can see. I mean, but it is based on a book, so I guess there's a reason why it has like kind of a literary feel to it. But it's loosely based. It's loosely based. It's very loosely based.
Oh, yeah. Loosely based.
Very loosely
based.
Loosely inspired,
as I understand it. I know that at one point Brad Pitt was going to play the main character, which would have been a wholly different movie if it was a male perspective as the creature.
Yeah, we would have had less boners, or would have been boners on boners?
I feel like there would have been more boners, but we'll get into that. So many boners in this movie, at least more than the average, film.
Yeah, and I commend it for that. Last one, Stephen Holden of the New York Times, because we got to get New York's opinion. The movie's eerie climactic image challenges our conventional notions of human identity and leaves us reflecting on the possibility that every being in the universe is an alien in disguise.
Faux deep.
Well, so that's the first time we really heard alien, I think, in any of the reviews. How much of the alien, like sci-fi, outer being, extraterrestrial plays into this film? Because it's pretty like obvious from the start that I couldn't even hear the words that she's saying things. I think she's saying like food. I heard food in the beginning of that intro. Again, like Contact, English. By the way, epic intro again. Another like epically slow glacial intro.
Oh yeah, very cinematic, artistic, and it's like, oh, it's an eyeball. Yeah. But yeah, it seems like she's learning like the English language. I think is what we're hearing at that moment.
Very phonics
but
heavy.
It's pretty obvious. Yeah, it's pretty obvious that there's like a being or there's some type of transport ship. There's some type of space thing going on there, right?
Oh yeah. There's like she's like being constructed. And there's like other entities that are already on the planet, like Motocross Man, the motorbike man. He's
Motocross Man.
I got him as Motorbike Man. It came out as Motocross in accident, but I don't know what to call the guy. He's the dude on the motorbike through the whole fucking movie.
That's perfect. I think it's hilarious because it's perfect. I don't know if it's right or wrong. It makes a lot of sense to me because that's all we really get out of it.
Right. So his they work together, but there's so there's like a network maybe worldwide of people doing aliens living among us, luring people into turning them into, I guess, some sort of food or energy source, something. They get deflated and all their innards get pushed down a big conveyor belt into the sky or something.
I thought it was the Ghostbusters 2 angry ooze under the sewers. That's what I thought it was.
No, because like the dude gets deflated, right? And he's all like, and then it cuts almost immediately from that to like red sludge going down a conveyor belt.
I thought it looked like that under the sewers. That's what it looked like to me. The whole city's filled with that shit underneath it.
The river of slime. In the book, it's a delicacy for the alien species.
Yeah. Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So okay. Wow. This movie was a challenge. I mean, it was quite a. This is the slowest. I could really say this. I think this might be the slowest film I've ever seen. And maybe that's reactionary because I watched it for the first time. But like, you're just sitting there. Me and Corey are sitting there. Like, we started to make looks at each other. Like, what's going on here?
I've got to say, I'm already glad you watched it with someone because it kept you from fast forwarding through half of it.
You're right. There was not a single fast forward.
Yeah. If you were alone, it would have been a 10-minute movie.
I will say that Corey's wife, Jess, came in at like the end. She was doing homework and she saw the end. And she's like, what are you guys watching? She saw the ending. It was like brutal for her. She's like, this is awful. Well, the guy in the woods and assaulting.
I mean, it's awful to watch the whole thing and see that ending, but yeah. We'll get to the end.
So I don't know, man. At any point, did you check your remote to see if it was accidentally paused or skipping or something? Because some of these shots I mean, that's one of my issues. Like, I can deal with like a slow pace. Like, you watch 2001: A Space Odyssey, and it is slow as fuck. It takes like an hour for one ship to dock. So I can deal with a slow pace. But when a director thinks that just holding on something equals like pontification or something very lofty, that never really equates with me. And there's just too many holds on this one.
I'm going to have to disagree with you. I actually think that a lot of now I felt that the first time I watched it, but watching it last night, I do think that there's a few, especially like we already referenced it like twice, that rear view mirror eye shot is like, there's a few shots that are held just too long. But I do think that a lot of the shots that seem kind of static or not, they're actually telling the story. All of the shots of people walking across the street and that kind of stuff, I didn't really pick up on it the first time I watched it. But like at first, like she's tracking single men, right? Like she's hunting single men. So like that's what we're seeing through much of it. And then later on, she starts like tracking single women because she's looking at them in a whole different way. Like, what am I? Who am I? What is my identity? So I feel like and then like there's these shots of nature, like the mist on the ocean, or that beautiful shot of the swaying pine trees toward the end, which I think are just kind of like supposed to be, a little bit, flourishes, kind of Malicky flourishes, but also there's beauty in this world, which is what the creature, or she's unnamed, the woman, what she comes to feel, that there's beauty in this world. And I think that's what's being conveyed with those shots.
Okay, so this movie took 10 years to be made. Like, Glazer painstaked over this thing. This is such a huge... This is what we get after 10 years, and I guess you could see the deliberateness of that 10 years, but I really felt like he was a dick a lot of this movie. It's like, come on, man. Like, I appreciate what you said there. I appreciate what both of you said, but it's like, you just being a dick, man. I mean, there's one thing to be chill and slow, but there's just no need for me to see Scarlett Johansson walk down this hill as some guys at a bus stop, like super.
There's a purpose for that. There's a purpose for that, because again, like what she's been doing through the whole movie is hunting single men. By that point in the movie, she has saved, or tried to save, the one guy with a physical condition. I don't know what the name for that is. I forget.
And which was fucking real, right?
That's a real guy. That's his real face. Yeah. So she's already done that. So she's running from the motorcycle man, and so she, for the first time in the movie, walks by a single man. And that's what it's about. He calls her back and says something like, this is the bus stop, assuming that she's trying to find the bus stop. But that's the significance of that shot. We get to see her from a distance. Like, for the first time, she's ready to just walk right by a single man and not hunt him. And for once, he calls her, and she starts following him around, and the whole kind of script flips.
Okay, well, now I see that. That makes a lot of sense. There's a ton of quick cuts and like edits related to, or not edits really, of people coming and going from the van. Like you said, yes, the shopping scenes and her driving with the long stairs. We get one instance of exhibition in this film, and that is the news report about the radio exposition. Sorry, the exposition of the murder that happens at the beach, which is that's like this whole side quest too. Like what is so specific that we need to know about that beach scene if we already know she's hunting single men? Why does it have to be drawn out that she ignores the family? She wants to make it, like, they want to make it clear that, she ignores everything else. What she focuses on are these bodies or men. I just feel like...
Eric, do you want to take this one? I have thoughts.
I have some. Go ahead. I'll piggyback.
Okay. So... Again, she's just hunting people, and she comes across this stranger, and she sees this stranger put his life at risk to save strangers. And then she sees the other strangers die trying to save one another. And then she, hits the guy over the head and kills him, leaves the baby there, which is brutal, especially that night shot of when the motorcycle man comes back for the clothes to like cover up the remnants, but leaves the baby, and the baby's like trying to stand. Maybe the most brutal, most brutal part of the whole. Yeah, it's really brutal. But I think that the importance, and I usually am like really against like news stories and movies like as exposition. I'm like, oh God, just tell us. But it's the look on her face. Like, her face spends so much time in this movie being pretty much impassive, unless she's trying to snare a man. Like early in the movie when she's like enjoying her work or okay with what she's doing, she's very smiley and outgoing and gregarious with people. But as she gets more used to what she's doing, the smiles come less easy and she's not as easily complimented. And by that point, when she's hearing what happened to the baby and all that stuff, like she's listening and she doesn't look happy about it. I think that she's starting to feel emotions and she's feeling regret.
We've got this alien who is very discriminative about who she harvests for their meat, which is odd. Single men without families, which is strange. I mean, I would like to hear your thoughts on why she only chooses single men without families.
Well, look at what happens when she's preying on that one guy, Andy, who has his own name tattooed on himself. And when people start to walk up, she takes off immediately because she doesn't want to be seen by them. It's all about lack of exposure. It's not about like, oh, I want to find people that won't be missed necessarily, although that's part of it too. They're easier victims. If people are not going to miss them as much, that's going to be easier to find. But also, it puts them less exposed if there's not somebody like immediately at home waiting for them and that kind of stuff. So it's just like a logistics thing, I think.
We've got 3 dead bodies at the beach. I can't believe I'm
counting
saying
the
this,
baby,
counting the baby, and yet she doesn't harvest them, which confused me a bit.
Well, they're drowned. The 2 adults are like in the water. They're drowned. She's not gonna go get them. The baby's maybe just not big enough. I don't know, or it's not part of her mission. I don't know what's up with the baby.
I love that you're trying to tell this tale. We get no information on it. So that's what he wants you to do.
Right.
So whatever you come up with whatever the fuck you want. Your interpretation. This is interpretation of the movie. It really is.
Oh, sure.
Because there's look, the guys that go, okay. So apparently this is supposed to be some type of sirens, analogy, right? Because these people come into it's supposed to be a house. But like immediately they're in a black room. That's not a house at all. You would recognize that immediately. Like, wait, what the fuck? What is this place? Nobody ever says that. These people follow her because she's so hot and attractive, which I get. But you would still, even if someone was super hot, you'd look around and be like, well, this is not a place. This is a dimension. What the fuck's going on?
Yeah,
As Corey said, is this an alternate dimension? And then
there's got to be something going on, like they're drugged or hypnotized. There's something going on to keep them, because it doesn't make any sense for them to just like be fine with what's happening. Once
they strip themselves, follow her, and then they go into this pool, and then they don't even notice they're in this pool of shit as they go under it. There's no like, no gasping or nothing. They just walk right under.
Just silent dudes with boners. Disappearing into oil, like black oil.
I don't think the oil's literally there, and I think the clue we get to this void being just a director's decision to show us like this, like the web state that they've ensnared themselves in, is the first scene with the van, because they take the girl's body into a white van, and then we see this white void, and I think that's just a representation of like complete isolation from everything else and ensnarement. A lot of people have a problem with the black goo. I think that's just, in all likelihood, they're just drugged and then they pass out, and then she takes their meat out of their bodies or whatever. I don't think they're literally into stuff at all.
Well, then what about the scene where the one dude's underwater and he sees the other dude all desiccated and half shriveled, and then the guy completely deflates? That seems pretty literal to me.
I think they literally get deflated, but I don't like. There's no way that, like, there's this like sea of like black ooze there. I think that's just a representation of something.
I think that she's taking them to some alternate dimension or like, some sort of portal to like space or whatever. I think she's taking them to their planet. I think because it shows when she brings the physically deformed dude up the stair, like it's like this shitty fucking house where anybody in their right mind would already be like, wait a minute, this place is abandoned. What are we doing here? Right. And then she takes them to that other room. So I think that there's something going on where they're like hypnotized or something. Almost as soon as they even when they're in the car in her presence, there might be something about her presence, because like there's dudes that are like, she's like, you want to ride? And like, yeah, sure, I'll hop in there. I'll hop in your car. This van, I'll hop in this van, not check the back of the van. There could be all kinds of like black market organ thieves there. Who knows? So I do think that there's like, it's not just like, I think that there's like some sort of power that she has. That's what I think.
Yeah, and then you get like unbelievable beauty.
Yeah, but I think it's more than that.
Who the hell knows, man? Everyone, that's the thing. You could argue about this forever, but you don't know. No one knows. It's the thing. It's like It's like when Travis says, like, when you die, you don't know. That's this movie. It's like, hey, go to town, because nobody really knows for sure. There was even the thing on IMDb that I read in the trivia notes about these Scottish folklore things. That's what it might have been instead of an alien. Did you see that part?
Selkies?
Yeah.
No,
Like
I
they
didn't
come
see
out
that,
of the...
but yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Oh, you know what Selkies are already. You're well done, sir.
Well,
They come out of the water. They're
Right.
beings, right? Something like that.
They're changeling women. They would be seals in the water and then human on land. It's kind of similar to the mermaid myth or siren myth.
Oh, okay. Well, that would fit that part of it. And so if you're trying to, like, maybe that's what this movie is preying upon too, is it wants to prey on your preconceived notions of how you see existence, how you see movies too, but then also reality and the world around you, and lets you interpret it. And that's how you get so many different thoughts and opinions. Because I bet if we had 20 people that we polled about this, we might get a lot of different answers.
Yeah.
Going back to what I said earlier about not having subtitles on, like, the movie almost works like a silent film. You don't really need to know what's being said for a lot of the movie. It doesn't fucking matter. There was no script. What the guys are saying in the car and their thick Scottish accents, I don't care what they're saying, because they're not saying plot points. This is just like chit chat, whatever. It doesn't matter. I pick up enough of it that it's like, oh yeah, okay, that's fine. They're alone. And I think, and I dig your point about this movie being highly interpretive. I think it's a very visually, which it's a film. All films are visual, but this is like a particularly visually driven film.
Mm.
Yes, it really is. And you have to look, she's naked in this movie a lot. She's a very famous woman who's known for her beauty in real life. So I had no idea that this had happened. I wasn't aware of it at all. And I wasn't taken out of the movie either, like, oh my God, Scarlett Johansson's nude. I mean, she's a gorgeous woman. There's no doubt about it. But that didn't happen to me. When I watched the movie, it didn't sidetrack me at all, even though that's the point of the movie, is for her beauty to take these people and focus them in on it so that she can, be the prey that they want from them. So it was just a surprising thought from a film that I noticed, and I actually give credit to the film and the filmmakers for being able to create this world and this air of strangeness, uncomfortableness, weirdness, to credit that for not making it like a big deal either. So
We've come a long way from like striptease, when that's all anybody was talking about. Like, oh, Demi Moore is finally shedding her clothes. But
let's not cut the bullshit. I mean, this was probably a huge deal. There was probably a bunch of people all, oh my God, but for me,
I didn't hear much about it.
I didn't hear anything.
I never heard about it.
A huge credit to Jonathan Glazer keeping our attention focused on the character and not even me, who is spellbound by how gorgeous this woman is. But yeah, I mean, I am interested when it comes to interpretation. That's what most interested me to choose this, because once there's a flip in the script, okay, like this first hour in this whole predatory thing is very involving. Some say the most involving. And then when it flips its script and then, the predator becomes the prey, a lot of people think that was kind of a mistake to once again see a woman in distress instead of in control of her own situation. How do you feel about that? Do you think it's a disservice to this character who is this strong woman? And when's the last time we saw like men scared of like a woman stalker or something of that nature? You don't see that.
She's not a woman.
Yeah, that's exactly my point. That's exactly what do you mean strong woman? She's a strong alien. We have no idea what her sex is.
I mean, I get that. I get that she's an alien, but to any viewer, this is a woman all done up in makeup and a fur coat that is completely in charge of herself and her power over men. I mean, you can't overlook that.
To get really, before I answer that, I wanted to address the other point about her beauty and how it doesn't distract us as a viewer, because we're not subjects, we're not victims of her. We're seeing the disturbing context that this is all taking place in. So you're not going to be titillated or like aroused because you're like, what the fuck is going on? But I actually think that the movie would not work without that flip. I agree that the movie kind of is less interesting when that flip comes, but if it's just watching a protagonist that goes through no change, I'm not particularly interested in those kinds of movies. I like some sort of arc, and it's so. I mean, like you see her do things like I said. She starts watching women. She tries cake. She stops hunting men. She finds she lets someone go. She has mercy for someone. She sees the fly trapped in the glass, and she has mercy for this person who's basically like to her like a fly would be to us, which I let flies out all the fucking time. But so and I think that's a really human thing to do, is to have like all of these experiences that she's trying to do. When she's like watching that terrible comedy show and like just absolutely befuddled by what is this comedy? I really like, I love stuff like Frankenstein and anything where it's like creatures trying to find their own humanity, and that's what that path becomes for her, which I find very compelling.
Yeah, I don't really consider the strong female thing, because the one thing that just seems so obvious is that it's not a she. It's like we see the body get taken over and the changeover that happens early on, and taking the body out of the water, blah blah blah. And yes, Travis's point does make that important, because you realize that she's cold and heartless. There's no heart there. There's no woman or heart there. This is a being that is just bottom line predator. Kill, 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 kill until she has that change. But when the change happened, I was like, finally, Jesus Christ. Okay, so there's a change here, or like there's a recognition of something going on here that I'm like, oh, okay. So we don't know what it is, but there's a change happening here, because that guy with the, Adam Pearson was his name, who has that real condition. I don't know the name of the condition. He was let go, but then, Moto Man came back to make sure. Well, the woman in the window watched across the street and didn't give a fuck.
That she dies too, because he sees her, and I bet he goes back and gets her too. It doesn't show.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah,
I just thought she was.
That seems to be his thing. Is he goes behind and clean up after her and like hide all the traces so that no one catches on to what they're doing. So,
but what happens? So this is. She goes to this thing. She realizes she has a vagina. It felt funny, and she stares at it with a lamp. I laughed when she did it. When she stared at her vagina with a lamp like that, I'm like, well, that is so funny for some reason. I don't know why I laughed. It was just hilarious. But now she's being it's being set up, at least. Again, this could be my interpretation, because that's what movies are, I guess. But sometimes it's obvious that she's being hunted now because she's having this change, and then that's what ends up happening to her, is that she doesn't get hunted by the Moto Man and these other moto bikers, because the guy that was not perceived as a threat to us, supposedly, even though it's very obvious to me that he was a threat, because he's a dude in the middle of nowhere in the woods with the lovely woman. He's definitely going to come back and do something perverted or fucked up.
I think that's a good tragic turn in this movie, is that she becomes not utterly enamored with humanity, but she certainly seems like she starts to find value in human life and that kind of thing. And so we watch her being chased by Moto Man and his moto friends, and then it's a human himself that ultimately kills her, right? Like she wanted to try and find love. She finds like this really great guy who like carries her over a stream and like doesn't expect her to sleep with them on the first night, like all kinds of stuff. Like he's just like a truly good guy. And there are people like that in the world, and then there's people like the logger who tries to rape her and kill her, and then kills her.
But she ran away from the nice guy. Because
so I actually anticipated the lamp on the vagina thing a little differently. I actually kind of interpreted that to mean, and actually now as you say that, I'm like, oh, you could be very right there. Again, interpretation. You could be very right there. She's like, what is this pleasure, or what is this pain? What is this feeling? What's happening down there? But I always kind of took it as like she was checking because like something was starting to go wrong. Like the machine was starting to break down, sort of, because like the rip that comes in her back later is a result of what that guy does. But I kind of feel like the state that she's in was always temporary. I don't know why I feel that way, but it seems like the skin was never meant to last. And so I always kind of thought that maybe she leaves the guy because like she's not going to be able to sustain the image that she is human anymore.
Yeah, man, I don't know. I hate to push back on this, but I think the entire story, the second time I'm watching it, is literally about womanhood, human womanhood. You've got a person created, living pretty oblivious in their life, acting on their own like Maslowian impulses to feed and seek shelter. And then you have this maturation and eventually this change into a different person through a kind of puberty, and she sees herself differently. She's changing emotionally. She's recognizing that her body is something special to be admired, desired, and it's ultimately a tragedy about what people expect from you physically, which made things really sad for me. I felt terrifically bad for her, just as this person who discovers something that should be beautiful about herself, that's manipulated and taken advantage of by misanthropy. So yeah, that's pretty much all I was going through this whole time.
Yeah, but your original point, I guess, was, I can't remember how you phrased it, but I think I see a difference here between what you said and what you're saying now. And yes, it's clear that there's elements of the Wonder Woman 1984 movie. You know, that movie got ripped out because like men are the worst ever in that movie.
It's terrible.
It's not a good movie, but like the fact that she's, you know, always glorified for her beauty, Wonder Woman, and now you have Scarlett Johansson. That's the connection I make here, is that all these guys are going after Scarlett Johansson because she's so attractive and she's pestered nonstop. She is, even if she is a predator. Yes, it's like an endless parade of guys. You're so beautiful, whatever they're saying. But I read the subtitles, so I might be able to recall some of them. But the bottom line was cheers. They say cheers a lot really fast. I learned that. But they want her. Yeah, that's right. These are real guys, by the way, too. I learned that after the fact. Hidden cameras.
Yep.
Yeah, hidden cameras. Glazer got their approval afterwards, but it was all natural and real. So there's a lot of this movie, by the way, that's a side note, very real for as bizarro as it might seem to you. Very real movie, but she is that epitome of someone who's pestered constantly for her beauty, even though she will end up killing them. So I see that side of it and how frustrating it would be to be a woman in reality who's not an alien, who doesn't have her own black pool of goo to, you know, drown people in and eat them as a delicacy later, being very difficult.
I feel like she's not eating them. I feel like she's just doing the work. But you know,
Moto Men feast only.
I think that like there's someone even higher than them that feast, but who knows? I don't disagree with anything you just said there, Eric. I mean, I do. She's not a woman, but is the movie trying to say things about women and about male and female interactions? Absolutely. That's one of the things I love about science fiction stuff, like Ex Machina, stuff that takes non-human characters and makes us think about our own humanity with them. I love that kind of shit.
Yeah. That's
imagine being one of these non-actors and being like, okay, yeah, I'll be in a movie. Where's the release form? Hold on. First, you have to do a full frontal nude scene.
Erect, by the way. You have to be erect for this.
Yeah, these are boners. Well done.
You don't see that in film very often when it's not Brown Bunny.
Don't.
I actually
don't. This is a. I've seen that movie.
Wow.
Yes.
Good.
This is a superstar actress, so it's a huge name with a movie with boners in it. So kudos on her. I want to give Scarlett Johansson a lot of credit. Like, she talked about her, not only her nudity, but like this film and how it's perceived and how women are perceived and how we perceive our own bodies, and we shame ourselves, but we look at ourselves through the lens, even if we don't see it, of how society creates these molds through advertising and all that stuff. So there's so much going on with this movie that I want to give it credit for that, but I do think it's not fun at all. It doesn't have to be fun. No. It's thought-provoking, but it's a slog, man. It's a fucking slog. So that has to be discussed a bit more here for me, because I don't want to just say it at the end. It's a slog to watch. There are thoughts that cross my mind, like, oh, I get it now. And the discussion we're having for me was much more entertaining than the film, frankly.
I mean, like I said, it's emotional work. It's a laborious film to watch. I mean, like there was more than one reason why I didn't rush back to watch it the past 10 years or so.
Yeah. Well, it's more of like a feeling that is there to entertain you, and it is for me a great reminder that movies can just be there to evoke emotion and a feeling. You don't always have to have this plot that you're just glued to.
But it didn't do that for me. I didn't feel, it wasn't laborious emotive expression or challenges for me. Like, I didn't look away at the baby scene. I'm not bothered by that. I'm just not, I wasn't bothered by any of the movie other than the fact that it was just a drag. It wasn't. I didn't get stirred up emotionally at all by this movie. I really didn't. I looked at Corey a lot. Maybe it's weird. Maybe I'm watching with a friend of mine, and maybe we started to take.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm wondering.
You know him.
Yeah, I mean, like you guys are like in buddy bro mode. Like, hey, let's watch a movie. We're hanging out. Let's watch. This is not the fucking movie to hang out and watch with your bro. It's just not. But again, like if you watched it alone, you wouldn't fast forward it, throw it. So I don't know if this was like I have notes. Like I wonder if Mike watched this scene. I wonder if Mike watched this scene. Because like as I was watching the movie, I'm like, Mike's gonna fucking hate this.
I don't mind slow. I didn't feel anything really. I understand some of the thoughts. Like I guess so. I don't know. I've sent a lot of pictures of myself crying from the much lesser films than this. Make me sob, but they manipulate you with the emotions. This movie is not trying to manipulate you, I don't think at all. If anything, it's not in a cheesy, cheap way. It's really trying to make you think deeply, and maybe if anything, you'll have a full-on breakdown once you discover the enormity of it all.
It respects its audience. I mean, it respects its audience to be patient. It respects its audience to make of the plot what they will, to make of the motivations what they will, and then with all the displays of like nudity and that kind of stuff, it respects its audience to not giggle and use the word boner over and over again when talking about it as we are. But I mean, like it's a serious work of art for adults.
I mean, it reminds me of Starman, the John Carpenter film. Here you have that movie where alien visits Earth and he learns a lot about humanity as an observer. And there's big moments of that. There's big emotional epiphanies and discoveries. They're here, but it's Scarlett Johansson looking at herself in the mirror, having that internal discovery, which just isn't that entertaining for maybe a casual viewer with his buddy.
Well, I don't think we have discussed this. We've talked a lot about her, but her performance itself is any commentary on that? Because it's a lot of silence. She also has to throw out a British accent, I guess. Is that what that was? I thought it was, but it's also an alien who has to do a British accent, so maybe that's what it would sound like.
Yeah, I forgive her for that reason.
But the internal dialogue, the silence, and the emotive responses, and by the way, just some of the shots, like when she's on that beach in that outfit with that hair, she just looks so regal in a way. It's like it's just so it's lovely to see. It really is. Even I admit that freely in that moment. Yeah. But her, I said jokingly, long stares, driving the movie. I said all that stuff, but she's really doing a lot with herself, and I want to give her a ton of credit for her performance. It's an A+ performance. I really think so.
It's fantastic, especially in the scene with Adam Pearson. She's doing a lot there to tell the story just in that one simple conversation.
I think that I've seen a lot of Scarlett Johansson movies, and and you know what? I think this might be her best performance. It's such a subdued performance. Like it makes it harder. Like she's literally stoic and like unblinking through so much of the film, but you can still see like this process going on, and again, like maybe it's a little bit, on like we're projecting onto her because she's so placid, but like again, I already kind of referenced this, like the way that like as the movie goes on, she seemingly is less and less okay with what she's doing, but it's not obvious. It's all so subtle. I think it's really expertly acted.
So you're saying 2009's He's Just Not That Into You? That's not her finest hour?
Not for me. No.
Perfect score. Nothing there. Horse
tomato,
whisperer.
tomato.
Nothing.
Was she in that?
That's right. What about this was mentioned in one of the reviews, the score, the atonal score, if you will, and that constant, every time that sound comes up, it is, you actually rely on the music and the sounds more in this movie than others because you need as many cues as they're willing to give you, which are so few.
Classic A24 score. Like, is this music?
Yeah.
But yeah, it evokes a mood.
It really does.
That's funny. Wow.
Yeah, it's like alien frequency just tuning in that you're tuning into from time to time. Yeah, the eyes, like that scene when they're watching that stupid fucking TV show, She does so much with just her eyes, the way she's trying to process what the fuck she's looking at.
Yeah, I agree. I also really like just the to get back to Glazer's direction. I think that there's so much beauty in this film. There's so many great pictures, like great shots of nature, especially. I think that this just looks gorgeous. I think that she shot gorgeously. I think that the black room sequences that Stranger Things clearly borrowed from. I think that all this stuff just looks so specific. You know, I can see elements of Sexy Beast in there now. You know, having watched that somewhat recently, even in that opening bit. And I also really loved, like, one of the last shots of the movie is straight up Caspar David Friedrich's The Wanderer above the sea of clouds, like, or the sea of fog, like this direct reference where the motorman is like standing on this cliff and it's like looking out over like all this fog and mist. And like, oh, I get that. Hey, I get that reference, which was fun. But there's probably a bunch of shots in there that are homages to other paintings or something like that, because you don't just do one of those in the movie. But the way it looks is just pristine.
Gorgeous.
Daniel Landon was a cinematographer. Oh, I had no idea who that was.
He did great.
Apparently he was on the crew of Sexy Beast. He was not the DP at all. He was some camera guy, or so. He was just like a part-timer on that crew, and now he got to do this movie for Jonathan Glazer later. So.
How long did it take to light that Black Forest cake?
I don't know.
What are we talking about? Black Forest cake?
Yeah, like cake.
So
Cake,
gross.
a 10-minute long cake shot. Like, you imagine a big crew like lining up their shot, getting that perfect cake shot.
Are you worried that as you watching it, are you worried that one crumb's going to fall off the fork before it makes it to her mouth? Because I was.
No, but I am
again.
seriously considering pausing it and going to like the store to buy some cake.
Yeah, that's like one of the. Maybe it's supposed to be. I guess maybe we chuckle a little bit. Her response to that. It was a little funny. I didn't mind her chuckle, but.
Yeah, I was glad that she didn't like start throwing up black vomit or something like that, like what we do in the shadows. But yeah, I dug like the prolonged look at the cake. It looks, because the cake I think is very representative. It's not just that she can't eat human food; she can't really be human. She can't really partake in human life, as tantalizing as it looks to her from the outside.
Yeah, and she's. I mean, that's a conscious decision to try what every human being thinks is like the most delicious thing in the world, to see if she would have any interest in it.
Except for those freakish pie people. But yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a cake man. Who am I kidding?
Well.
Okay. Any last points we wanted to make?
Yeah, any other notes there?
We didn't really talk about the ending very much. And
We didn't.
How it, the logger guy, like as soon as he talks to her and he's like overly chatty, kind of like how she would chat up her victims, you know that something's not right about this guy, and she's alone in the forest with him.
It's also 2,000 acres. Yeah, of two people. Yeah, seems weird.
And then when he's molesting her and she wakes up and runs away from him, you're like, oh fuck, this is not going to go well. But what I really, really like about that whole ending sequence is, just as her victims die soundlessly, she dies soundlessly. There's no screaming. There's no "fuck you, alien" or weirdo. Like there's nothing. It's just like she's like standing there. She's holding her own face in her hands, blinking at her. This identity she's tried to craft with, it's been severed. This act, which again kind of gets to your point, Eric, about this and also being about womanhood. She's having to like confront herself in that because of what has been done to her, and then the dude just throws gas on her and lights a match unceremoniously.
So bogus, dude. If an alien being revealed themselves to me, even if I did try to assault them, it's such a huge moment. I wouldn't burn it up. I'd run away and call somebody. This is a huge moment.
So many people would, though. So many people would just see something they don't understand and just step on it. If they
Stomp
could,
on it.
right?
Yep. There
just
you go.
stomp it out.
Exactly.
This freak. You're not right. You're not supposed to be here. And also she's like his victim. So like it's doubly compounded for him because he was probably going to kill her anyway.
Yeah. But once you find out someone you're assaulting is an alien, I just feel like it changes the game. I know it's a strange situation that will literally never happen to anyone else, but I really yelled it out in the moment. Like, oh, come on. This is a unique moment in history, you fuck.
Yeah. Well, that's part of the tragedy of it, right? Is that like he's not like the other guy that cherished her, who he didn't know that she was an alien, but still, because there's like these two aspects to humanity. There's good folk, and then there's rapist scumbags who just destroy on sight.
Yeah,
no questions asked. But the way it's shot, and like the snow and the smoke and the ashes all coming down, it's so fucking gorgeous.
And aliens burn too. I didn't know if gasoline would work. Apparently, gasoline in a match works on aliens.
It makes sense. At least it wasn't like glasses of water or the flu, which I've got.
Yeah. Incredible special effects for such a small film. It looks fucking incredible that whole God, I think when I first watched this, I was like, whoa, the alien looks cool and this is fucked up. But again, going back to kind of this trajectory that I view this in, the lens that I look at it in, is she stops running and she stops fighting when she realizes that she's been revealed. And that says so much about the type of violation that she experiences, because I imagine when someone goes through that, they literally just do not feel like a human being anymore. And the symbolism is there if you look at it like that. It's very tragic.
Yeah. The movie's definitely a tragedy all around. The tragedy of the swimmers and the loss of life there, the tragedy of these lonely men, which most of them don't even like. Well, some of them are clearly kind of scummy, but some of them, like especially the dude with the physical disorder, like he's never touched a woman, he's never had a girlfriend, never been touched by a woman. It's so tragic, just all around. I mean, but I agree, Mike. At no point did I start crying watching this movie, but I am emotionally affected by it.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because there are two types of men in the film. There's the horny guys, which call them like the enemy or the predator, or just call them horny guys. But they also make it a point to show genuine threats when that barrage of people just start trying to fuck up her van, and she's staring at them like, am I in danger, or what am I supposed to do here?
Very calmly, very calmly.
Yeah. There's something, this movie also kind of made me think a little bit of Children of Men and its kind of matter-of-fact approach to action. Like things just happen, and it's not like a bunch of fanfare and like a different slow motion angle of it. It's like
drowning.
Exactly. All that stuff just happens. We're just watching it take place, and it's not for as dramatic and cinematic as so much of the movie is. A lot of the more those kind of moments, those kind of action sequences are really flat in a way that makes them more realistic and work.
Yeah. And I think that speaks to the message of an observation on the human condition, because there is an indifference to nature or the world it's there for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't think it's an accident that she ends up dying in nature out in the wilderness.
No, nothing's an accident in this movie at all.
No. Took 10 years to write the script, basically. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, I chose the film. So if we are winding down, if for a plot like this, one would expect to desire more from it. Well, as opposed to kind of this simplistic approach to the tale. But for me, it whets my appetite to get my own gears going mentally. And I love when movies do that. Just the visuals alone here, man. It's just so beautiful I could just have this on like I'd be looking at a fucking aquarium. It's so beautiful. I love the subdued, nuanced performance by ScarJo. I like the fact that they bring in an actual actor with this condition and don't stick prosthetics on a guy like they fucking would nowadays with this Tom Hanks as Colonel Parker bullshit.
We are but two odd children. Sorry.
Jesus. It's a movie that offers a lot of interpretation. To just the fact that we have our own perspectives on this makes the film hold up, in my opinion, because it has something to offer intrinsically for me in terms of a philosophy on life, the human experience, and blah blah blah. I love the film. I think it holds up completely.
Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I'll go next. This movie was just such a slog, man. And you know, you guys made all the great points, all these higher art, a little bit more critical thinking, measured discussion points that are related to this film. They're all really well done, and it's super interpretive what this movie could be, which, you know, it does open up to an enjoyable discussion, but this is about the movie. It's not about the discussion, I don't think. So watching the film as a first timer, again, and this seems to happen to me more often than it happens to you two, you already said, Travis, like, I can't think of a reason why I'd rush to want to watch this again, even though it's a great film, basically is what you said, or it's still a well-done film anyways. And I just think if you're trying to make some of the points you're making maybe this would be better, like, I don't know, like a 30-minute short or something. You're making a feature film and you're putting all this into it for the world that it is present in. People just aren't going to fucking get it, dude. I'm sorry. And I don't like to say that and admit it. It makes me sad. And I really empathize with you, Mr. Glazer, if you ever see this, which you never will because you don't care about us. But you don't give a fuck. I don't know what you're like at all in real life. You might be dead for all I know. Is he alive? I hope he's alive.
I think so.
I hope so. At any rate, yeah, I know. Well, if he talks to you, let me know. But he's taking a risk, of course. And the people who backed it, they knew the risk with this too. And Scarlett Johansson is incredible in this movie. It's a great performance. It's just not enjoyable to watch for me at all. I kind of want to give it an incomplete to maybe give it a second watch. But since we have to give our rulings today, as a first-time viewer, I am sorry to say, even though it creates hours of beer drinking and, you know, you could sit around a coffee table and talk about this for hours at a dinner party, that would be great. I'd be actually very much interested in doing that if anybody comes up with that idea. But for now, as a film to watch, I think it doesn't hold up because it was just too much of a slog and a drag and, like, frustrating to watch as a movie goer, especially if you sit down and watch it with somebody else. I know Corey 30 years, but like, yeah, maybe we wanted to have more fun. Maybe the way we watch this. I admit there are some variables here that change the viewing experience, but as it stands today, for me, it doesn't hold up.
Did Corey like it?
He basically felt like I felt. We had some thoughts, but
maybe you should have watched Bench Warmers.
I should have, or Strange Wilderness, you know, man.
Gryffindor's Tribe.
It's fascinating to me that you would say that a movie could easily engender hours of discussion and yet not find a lot of value in it. I find that interesting. I've already really showed my hand. I called this movie a work of art. I said I thought it'd be 8 on the IMDb. I said it was probably Scarlett Johansson's best performance. Yeah, this movie for me absolutely holds up. Now, the first time I watched the movie, I felt a bit more like you did, Mike. Admittedly, I was like confused. It made more sense the second time I watched it when I knew what was going on. My second viewing was significantly better than my first viewing 10 years ago. But my first viewing, I mean, I did still think, okay, this is a smart movie. This is a good movie. It's not something I want to revisit quickly, but it is visually compelling, and there is something going on here about life and humanity. I'm not sure I understand it, but I'm interested in finding out more. So I did the same thing as Eric, where I watched it, thought, like, that's interesting, really fucking slow. But I thought about it. It would pop into my head for 10 fucking years. It would just occasionally just images, especially her running and like her, you know, those last moments would just kind of pop into my brain here and there. And revisiting it, it was a really rewarding experience for me. I found it to be much better than I remembered, which again, I thought it was pretty good, but I had a lot more patience for it this time. And again, I wasn't sitting down with my buddy like, oh shit, we got to watch this. It was more like, oh, here's my plan for Tuesday night. I got my pen and paper and all that. So I was very much in the right mood, you know, to take it in. And I think that, like a lot of highly interpretive art, you're gonna have to have a really open mind and be in the right mindset to take it in, because I think that it's not. I think that given the conditions that you watch it in, you might not have the proper patience for it. And that's what I mean by it being laborious. Not that it's like emotional work, but that it is in fact a slog, and that it you have to be patient with it. And that's not easy with some movies, right? I mean, that's not always easy as a viewer, but to me, this is, I can see why this is, a lot of people rank this as among A24's best films. It's ranked by a lot of people as one of the best like sci-fi / horror films of the past 20 years. I think it's great, and I was really glad to rewatch it. And it won't be 10 years before I watch it again.
I will say that it was a very chill environment. It was just me and Corey relaxed. I was very calm. We weren't ready to like watch a road movie or a buddy movie. We were ready. I'm like, I gotta watch this for the show. I'm ready to rock. You want to do this? So we were ready to go, whatever it was going to be.
The Hangover 2
party hats on.
We didn't have any Marco's pizzas. We weren't ready to cry like it was Crash. I will say that. So when you're hungry, you're hungry. So there it is. Does it hold up? It's 2-1. It holds up. Nothing personal, Eric.
He wasn't on the crew.
I'm gonna watch it again at some point. I don't know when that'll be, and then maybe I'll feel more like Travis. I'll have that understand. I understand what you guys are saying.
We'll still be doing the podcast when you watch it. So report back to us then in 10 years or whatever.
Sometimes I just wanted to make sure that I stay true to the viewing experience, because sometimes we get caught up, and I love our conversations. I love doing the show with you guys. It's so much fun, and it's informative, and it makes me think about things that I didn't think about and vice versa. But I get away from my actual viewing experience, and I kind of I'm trying to make sure that I at least want to make sure that that's part of it, because it is, Sure. It is. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you took something from it. Under the skin? Under the skin? No,
under the skin.
Under the skin. Shining. Yeah, it's Under the Skin. I'd like to see a funny trailer made out of this movie. That'd probably be very easy to do, but it would be
Under
hilarious.
the Skin, the comedy.
Yes, I would love to see that trailer.
That rejig cut.
Yeah, I wish one of us could do that. We put it on our Patreon. People would love it. Anyways, we do have a Patreon, so if you want to join up, it's only $1. The Bill Goodykoontz level gets you in the door. Bill Goodykoontz, he's one of our favorite critics. Really impressed us today with his reviews. So.
Yeah.
Thanks. Well done, Bill. Especially for such a deep film. You showed us something new, Bill, and we give you credit when you deserve it. So, anyways, next week we'll be back on the air, of course. We're not really on the air, I guess. We'll be here.
We're live right now. I mean, that's
true. Whatever air this is, we're consuming it.
We're on the screen.
We're holding space together. And we'll do a film next week. And then, of course, the listener's choice will be the week after that. When's the cutoff? What are we cutting that off?
We would need it by the afternoon or the morning of the 28th for us to have it all ready for the show that evening. So if you want to send us a suggestion, you've got about a week if you're listening to this in real time. Otherwise,
you mean the 21st? You mean the 21st?
Yes. Get it to us by the 21st. You're right. I'm sorry. Get it by Wednesday, which I believe is the 21st. Is that right?
It is. Yeah.
The 28th. Okay. Yeah. So by the
28th
Wednesday,
would be the week of we're doing that movie. Like, God damn, that's going to be tight.
No, you're right. Yeah. So by the 21st, you have 1 week if you're listening to this now or watching now.
7 days.
7 days. I know that one. That's The Ring. I've seen that.
Yeah.
Yay! All right. So it's my turn, right?
It's your turn. It's your turn.
Yeah.
Are you gonna pick something from your list now?
Yeah. Well, no, I got it ready to go. I
Okay.
kind of tipped my hand earlier, so it's timely. It's present. I'm doing what Eric would do. Sometimes he wants to bench warm. No. Eric, I think at least one time Eric was trying to like capture the zeitgeist of the moment by picking a movie. What was that movie? Do you remember doing that?
First Tribe?
No, we never did Gryffindor's Tribe. We do talk about it every other episode.
Short list.
Bernardo says, nice episode. See you guys next week. Bernardo, glad you're always here with us, man. That's cool. I will tell you that it was mentioned in the video before we did this. Yes, we're going to 2006. We're going to do The Queen, directed by Stephen Frears. Yes, so I gave you a little teaser earlier, but we are actually doing The Queen. So it's, she passed. Now we can see Helen Mirren as the Queen, who's still alive. Helen Mirren exists today.
I guess I'll watch it and find out if I've seen it before.
The Queen.
Exactly. I'm pretty sure. I'd be surprised if you haven't seen it, Travis. I don't know.
I actually don't think I have. I'm not like
Stephen Frears.
Yeah, I'm just not into the royals, man. I don't give a fuck. I just don't care. I don't watch that shit.
That's what makes it so darn
Spencer.
interesting.
I like Spencer because I like Princess Diana because she's not like the rest of the royals, you know.
Exactly.
No,
I enjoy Spencer.
Is this not like the
Okay, well,
story
that's
of how
different
she handled the death of Diana? Is this like that? Like, isn't that what this is about? Following
Exactly
that?
what it's about.
Okay, yeah, I'm
spoiler
more
alert,
interested
but
than
it is-
just like her life
it-
story. I don't give a fuck.
It happened.
about her
No,
life
this
story.
is not exactly. So it might not be what you think it is. Who knows? James Cromwell's in it from Babe, so that's always cool to see him on screen.
Of Babe fame.
Of Babe fame, maybe more LA Confidential fame. I would like to say
6 feet under.
or of it, or
I
of
go
his
to.
recent tirade at Starbucks for the vegetarian coffee being way too expensive. You seen the video?
No, but I want to.
I do.
Check it
Yeah,
out.
I think
Check it out. It's ridiculous.
probably going to Google that right after this. Yeah,
Jumps on the counter and starts screaming.
What?
a
Jumps on the counter.
6'7" old man.
Yeah. Yep.
Are you shitting me?
Yes.
Wow,
I'm dead serious.
Must be
Check it
very
out.
agile. He's got to be like 75.
Yeah, he's got to be up there. Maybe he's
And he's
starting to
tall.
have some issues. I don't know.
Well, anyways, that's what we'll do next week. Stephen Frears directed film starring Helen Mirren and Michael Sheen, and James Cromwell, yada yada yada. A bunch of people that you've seen in all. Every time they do a movie that was like based around British people at all, like V for Vendetta, you're gonna see a couple guys from that movie. They'll be in there.
Oh, Stephen
There's,
Ray.
like, not
Kill
Stephen
your
Ray.
own
though.
kind.
It sucks. I know. No Stephen Ray. I'm talking like bit actor character guys. Like, oh, that guy. Yeah. No, the guy who plays like basically the Hannity of that movie, he's in this movie. So, but he's not Hannity at all. He's very chill. So
Yeah.
that guy.
What is that dude's name? He's a very famous comedian in Britain. I can't think of his name. Stephen
Oh
something.
no, isn't that Fry? You're thinking
Yeah,
of Fry.
Stephen
or
Fry.
No,
And then
no,
he's
the
Fry.
other guy. Yeah, no, it's not Fry. It's the other guy. The guy.
Oh,
not
the other guy.
The guy who
Yeah,
plays
yeah.
the Hannity psycho guy on
Yeah,
Kill
yeah.
them all, everybody die, and V for Vendetta. So. Anyways, I'm
I
mixing
wish
up
you
two.
picked V for Vendetta now.
Dude, yeah, that would have been a great call. I mean, that would have been an easy call for me, but like, just saying,
all right.
so.
So the Queen.
Or maybe
Queen.
not. Maybe not. I don't know. I watch it a lot, though. I do enjoy it, even if it has its issues. I think it
I
brings
haven't
some
seen it in a long
interesting.
time.
Seen it since it came out.
Interesting. Wow.
All right, well, there
Well,
it
the
is.
Queen,
Natalie
anyway.
Portman.
Well, the
Try to
Queen,
compare Natalie Portman's accent versus Scarlett Johansson's accent. Which one do you think is worse or better? You let us know. Send them an iPod at gmail.com. 5-star review, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, guys. Help us out, please. We'll do something for you if we can. If we can do it, we will.
Mike will.
Yeah, I will if I can do it.
we
I'm
will.
not saying anybody.
out of it.
So, all right, just me. Until next time, folks. Thanks for joining us. He's Travis Roy, Eric Branch, and Michael Govier. It's been a pleasure talking movies with you. We'll see you.
Turn right.
Turn right.
Nothing.